Welcome to video 2 of Bytes of Python and a bit of cybersecurity. So Ms. Kathy wrote this boring-ass educational script. Okay, so here we go. Okay, let's move on from the so simple printing out the hello world phrase and learn something new. This lesson will cover variables and data types such as integers, which is just a number, and floats, which are not the root beer kind, but numbers with decimal points. Besides these two data types, others would include a string, which is a chain of characters that can be up to 4 kilobytes in length. Another data type is Boolean, which is a value that is either true or false. Another data type is the date. Another is a byte, which has a default initial value of 0. Other data types are shorts, longs, doubles, which are values with different numerical bytes. Then there is char, which kind of sounds like you are referring to charbroil or something, but is a Unicode value that is 2 bytes. While there are simple data types, there are also 3 main data types, which are structured data, unstructured data, and big data. So back to variables and why they are needed. So basically, if you have a 100-page novel entered into a database that, let's say, holds 100 novels, you can set novel 1 as a variable such as variable A, or 1 or novel 1A, or whatever you want to name it, then use this variable in your coding. Variables make things easier by storing a novel as a 1-character variable. You then do not have to type out the whole novel by hand, or keep cutting and pasting the novel into your code. That would be quite cumbersome and create too many lines of code in your coding project. Just use the variable that holds the whole novel or 100 novels wherever you need to in whatever coding project you are working on. There are certain rules about the way to structure a variable, such as using letters, numbers, and underscores. You can use a variable that starts with a letter but not a number, such as ABC1, but not 1ABC. Also, since no spaces are to be used in variable names, the underscore is to be used as a space. Try not to use Python coding language such as functions or keywords as variable names. Good naming conventions for a variable would be to type out numbers instead of n to stand for numbers. It is also best to use lowercase letters and numbers in variable names, as uppercase are to be used for other special occasions in Python coding. Next, errors can easily occur and often do when one is coding in Python or any other coding language. Variable errors, function errors, keyword errors can and do occur from time to time. The Python interpreter catches if there is an error in your coding project and gives you an error message. You can therefore go back into your lines of code and analyze and correct what code needs to be corrected. Many of these coding errors are misspellings or syntax errors, which are errors in the format of the coding language you are using. Next are strings, which are a series of characters within quotes, single or double. So you can print out strings with single or double quotes if you wish, or no quotes at all. You can use strings with methods, for instance. A method is an action that is performed on some type of data. As we have seen, printing a string hello world is easy, but now you can use a method, which is an action that acts on data. For example, you can use a variable sent short for sentence equals hey there, then print parentheses sent, dot title beginning, parentheses, ending parentheses, then an ending parentheses. These lines of code will output hey there with capital letters. You can manipulate other variables to all lowercase or all uppercase as well with the method dot upper and dot lower as well. You can also insert a variable into a string, such as fruit1 equals apples and fruit2 equals bananas. Then type another variable as fruit3 equals f bracket. Fruit1 bracket, space bracket fruit2 bracket, then print parentheses, fruit3, and ending parentheses. The result is simply apples, bananas. The F in this coding example stands for format, and these strings are called F-strings because Python formats the string by putting the name of the variable in braces with the value. Next to further format, the structure or the way the words appear in your code output, you can use backslash such as print parentheses, double quotes with the words apples and ending parentheses. This will just tab the word apples a few spaces forward in the output. Another format in Python is to use \n\t. This will output each string or word or variable on a new line. Another formatting method is .rstrip, .lstrip, or just plain old .strip. These methods will take out the extra white space in the strings if you like everything to look nice and neat in your coding project, or to clean up input that's been typed in by a user and stored in a database, for example. Next are the numbers, or integers to be exact, which are just numbers and use the plus, minus, star, and slash for the mathematical calculations. Python uses 2 stars for exponents and also uses the order of operations in mathematical calculations. Python uses floats also. No, not the kind of floats in city parades, but numbers with decimals. So if you use a float and an integer to calculate a result, the result will always be a number with a decimal, even if it is a whole number. Next is the ease of initializing numbers to variables. For example, you type a comma b comma c comma equals 0 comma 1 comma 2 comma. So n equals 0, b equals 1, and c equals 2. It's a bit easy, a bit peasy, and a bit cheesy. Then there are the numbers that are called constants. In this case, if you were coding financials of a database, let's say you could have constant number to represent a tax percentage that does not change in the coding project. Usually, a variable that represents the constant is set in all capital letters in a project, so that it is easy to identify in the lines of code, and is just a common-sense customary practice to label the constant variables. Another coding practice in Python is to use comments in the lines of code in your coding project. The comments you write in your lines of code are written after the hashtag. You can write whatever you like, such as what each group of lines of code or module is for, in case someone has to go back into the lines of code later, and try to analyze what lines of code do what to hopefully make it easier to analyze if the need arises. You can write complex code or easy code. It is best to write simple code that works. Now for the cybersecurity bit. Cybersecurity is protecting computer networks, operating systems, and to integrate security protocols to accomplish this. You have to be familiar with TCP/IP, which is Transfer Control Protocol/Internet Protocol, DNS, which is Domain Name Service, HTTP, which is Hypertext Transfer Protocol, SSL, which is Secured Socket Layer, Firewall, which are walls of fire or walls that try to keep bad stuff out of your computer network that can be set up on operating systems, antivirus software, which prevents computer virus from infiltrating computers, and VPNs, which are virtual private networks that use anonymous networks around the world to camouflage your IP address, to make you more anonymous if need be.